The WNBA higher-ups are panicking. They don't know what's going to happen. This is wild. Look at how empty this arena is. Free tire change. They're trying to give you a free car wash and all types of stuff to get out to these games. Look at how empty it is. The cheapest ticket, $6.
The WNBA just faced the most humiliating moment in its history. $6 tickets to the championship finals, rows of empty red seats echoing through the arena, and two of the league's biggest stars standing on the court realizing that without Caitlyn Clark and the Indiana Fever, nobody cared anymore.
And judging by ticket prices, neither does anybody else. I think y'all care about the drama around it. I do believe that, but I don't think you care about the events itself.
What should have been the league's proudest moment turned into a harsh reality check that exposed just how fragile the WNBA's so-called breakthrough really was. A year ago, the league was unstoppable. Every arena was packed, the energy electric, and television ratings soaring to levels no one thought women's basketball could ever reach. The 2024 season felt like a revolution. Games were selling out, fans were camping outside arenas just to catch a glimpse of the action, and sports media finally started giving the WNBA primetime coverage. It wasn't just basketball anymore, it was culture. And at the center of it all was Caitlyn Clark. Her rookie season wasn't just impressive, it was historic. Every game she played turned into an event. Tickets that once sold for $20 were going for hundreds. Highlights of her no-look passes and deep threes dominated social media. She didn't just play basketball, she made it entertainment. For the first time, little girls and even casual male fans were lining up for WNBA jerseys. And not just any jerseys, they all wanted number 22. Clark wasn't just selling tickets, she was selling hope. She made women's basketball feel fresh, fast, and fun. The Indiana Fever, once the league's punching bag, suddenly became the hottest ticket in town. Paired with Aaliyah Boston, Clark transformed the Fever from an afterthought into a genuine contender. Every game was must-watch television, ESPN could barely keep up. Every network wanted in on the Clark effect. It seemed like the WNBA had finally cracked the code until reality hit hard. When the Fever got knocked out of the playoffs, something happened that nobody could have imagined. The crowds vanished. The buzz evaporated overnight. Television ratings didn't just dip, they collapsed by nearly half. All those new fans who'd filled arenas and flooded social media disappeared like they were never there. Suddenly, the finals, the grand finale of the season, felt like a funeral. Empty seats, silent arenas, energy gone. It was like watching the soul of the league drain out in real time. Imagine being Aja Wilson or Jonquel Jones. You've spent years grinding, building your name, putting in the work to reach this exact stage. You finally make it to the finals, your supposed moment of glory, and the arena looks half empty. The cameras pan around and can't even find full sections of fans. Broadcasters start using words like intimate atmosphere, which we all know is code for no one showed up. You look up at the stands and you see empty seats where the energy should be. You check online later that night and realize tickets to your championship game are going for $6. $6, less than the price of a burger combo. The footage from those finals games was brutal. Fans online began posting side-by-side videos, packed Fever games from earlier in the season, next to the ghost town atmosphere of the finals. TikToks and memes spread like wildfire, mocking the WNBA for collapsing the moment Caitlyn Clark wasn't involved. One viral post showed ticket prices dropping by the day, set to sad violin music. Another read, "This is what happens when you disrespect the person paying your bills." Harsh, but people couldn't stop watching. The internet had made up its mind. The league needed Clark more than it wanted to admit. Meanwhile, inside the WNBA offices, panic was setting in. Team executives were furious. Sponsors started asking questions about viewership guarantees. TV networks were calling emergency meetings, trying to figure out how the championship series, the supposed highlight of the season, had lower ratings than regular season college games. Think about that. A professional championship being beaten by random college matchups. That's not just bad, that's catastrophic. Behind closed doors, players were demanding answers. During private meetings, stars like Wilson and Jones reportedly confronted league officials about why the massive marketing push stopped the moment Indiana was out. Where were the highlight reels? Where were the flashy promos? Why did the ads dry up? The league's answer, according to insiders, was devastatingly simple. The person people wanted to see wasn't playing anymore. That divide ripped through locker rooms everywhere. Veterans who'd spent years in the league felt disrespected. They thought they had earned their spotlight. Younger players, meanwhile, quietly admitted what everyone already knew. Caitlyn Clark had changed everything. The uncomfortable truth was out. The league wasn't thriving because of some gradual growth plan. It was thriving because one player had captured the world's attention. Sponsors noticed it. Executives noticed it. Even rival players couldn't deny it anymore. But acknowledging that truth meant swallowing pride. And not everyone could do that. Some veterans posted vague messages about respecting the game and real fans supporting all players, but it backfired badly. The comments were savage. Fans replied with pictures of empty arenas and captions like, "Where are those real fans now?" And "Looks like respect doesn't sell tickets." As the finals dragged on, things got worse. Reports surfaced that some games had more no-shows than attendees. People who had bought tickets months ago didn't even bother to go. Scalpers were trying to give tickets away outside arenas, 2 courtside seats for $20 and no takers. International broadcasters that had started carrying WNBA games pulled the plug mid-series because the ratings were non-existent. It was a complete collapse. A league that had just been celebrating global expansion suddenly looked small again. While all this was happening, Caitlyn Clark was quietly rehabbing her shoulder injury. She wasn't even playing, yet she was still the most talked about player in the sport. Her training videos pulled more engagement than highlights from the finals. She appeared at an Iowa basketball game, and the crowd erupted in chants for her name. The symbolism was impossible to ignore. The woman who wasn't even on the court was outdrawing the entire championship. When A'ja Wilson finally addressed it, she tiptoed around the truth, saying the energy felt different without certain players. She didn't say Clark's name, but everyone knew what she meant. Even the league's new marketing campaigns gave it away. Every promo for the upcoming season revolved around Caitlyn Clark. Her face, her highlights, her story, all front and center. The message was loud and clear. They weren't making that mistake again. Teams started restructuring their schedules, trying to maximize games against Indiana. Some franchises even projected that those few fever matchups would bring in more money than the rest of their home games combined. That's how deep the dependency had become. The WNBA wasn't just promoting Caitlyn Clark anymore. It was built around her. Now, here's where things get even more complicated. Critics argue that building a league around one player is dangerous. They're not wrong. If Clark gets injured again or decides to play overseas, the whole system could collapse. But here's the other side. Before Clark arrived, the league wasn't exactly thriving. Attendance was stagnant, viewership was flat, public interest was low. She didn't just help the WNBA, she saved it. Still, the psychological fallout among players has been intense. Some have reportedly met with sports therapists to talk about the realization that they're not the draw they thought they were. It's not a shot at their talent. They're incredible athletes, but star power isn't about talent alone. It's about connection, charisma, and the ability to make casual fans care. Clark has that magic. Others don't. Heading into the new season, the pressure on Caitlyn Clark is enormous. She's not just carrying the Indiana Fever's championship hopes, she's carrying the entire WNBA's financial stability. That's a lot for one 23-year-old to handle, but if there's one thing she's proven, it's that she performs best under pressure. Early reports from training camp say she looks stronger, faster, and hungrier than ever, and the league is counting on it. Because everyone knows what's at stake. If the Fever make a deep playoff run, the WNBA might finally stabilize. But if they falter, if Clark gets hurt again, or if fans lose interest, another finals with empty seats and $6 tickets could be a death sentence. Sponsors are already nervous. Networks are already reconsidering their commitments. And fans have made it clear they'll tune in for Clark, not for the logo. That's the harsh reality the WNBA can't ignore anymore. Caitlyn Clark didn't just change the game, she became the game. And when she's not there, the silence speaks louder than anything else. Those empty seats, those unsold tickets, those quiet arenas, they're all saying the same thing. The league's success wasn't a movement, it was a moment, and that moment belongs to Caitlyn Clark. Maybe that's the real lesson here. You can't force people to care. You can't lecture them into buying tickets or guilt them into watching games. You have to give them something magnetic, someone they can't look away from. The WNBA found that in Caitlyn Clark, but now it has to figure out how to build beyond her. Because if it doesn't, one more finals like that, and it won't just be empty seats haunting the league, it'll be the sound of opportunity slipping away. So, what do you think? Can the WNBA survive without Caitlyn Clark? Or did the $6 finals prove that without her, nobody's watching? Drop your thoughts below, and remember, the 2025 season isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about survival. And here's where the story turns from embarrassment to full-blown identity crisis. Because when the dust settled after that disastrous finals, the conversations happening inside league offices and locker rooms weren't about basketball strategy anymore. They were about survival, perception, and pride. Everyone, from executives to players to the fans themselves, was suddenly forced to confront an uncomfortable question: what actually makes people care about women's basketball? Behind the scenes, panic turned into denial. The league tried to spin the story, talking about competitive parity and long-term growth, but those words sounded hollow when fans were posting pictures of entire sections of empty seats. ESPN anchors who had praised the WNBA just months before quietly moved on to other topics. You could almost hear the collective sigh of "here we go again." After all that progress, after all those headlines about record-breaking ratings and cultural momentum, the WNBA was back where it started, fighting to prove its relevance. Meanwhile, players who'd spent the past year brushing off questions about Caitlyn Clark's popularity were suddenly eating their words. Ayesha Wilson, once vocal about the league's success being a team effort, couldn't escape the memes. Her championship photos went viral not because of her performance, but because of the visible emptiness around her. Even casual fans, the ones who didn't follow basketball religiously, were making jokes. Comments like, "Looks like Caitlyn took the fans with her," or "WNBA needs her more than air." It wasn't just social media snark, it was public perception cementing itself. The funny thing is, this didn't come from hate. It came from connection. The truth is, Caitlyn Clark represented something new, a storyline, a personality, a reason for fans to emotionally invest. Whether people tuned in to love her, to hate her, or just to see what she'd do next, they tuned in. That's the secret ingredient every successful league needs: polarizing fascination. The NBA learned that decades ago with players like Jordan and LeBron. The NFL has it with Brady and Mahomes. But the WNBA hadn't had that kind of lightning in a bottle moment until Clark arrived. And the numbers prove it wasn't just hype. When Clark played, arenas were 90 to 100% full. When she didn't, attendance dropped by more than half. It wasn't coincidence, it was dependence. That realization stung. Players who'd worked tirelessly for years couldn't help but feel overshadowed. They saw the numbers too. They saw that their own highlight clips barely cracked a few thousand views online, while Clark's workout videos racked up millions. That's not just fame, that's cultural gravity. Inside the players' union, quiet debates started happening. Some veterans argued that the league needed to stop catering to one player, that it was disrespectful to everyone else. Others countered that without Clark, those endorsement deals and broadcast contracts wouldn't even exist. One insider reportedly said the room felt split right down the middle between those who wanted to build the WNBA collectively and those who accepted that Clark was the engine driving the train. Even the business side began recalculating everything. Sponsors who'd signed multi-year deals suddenly started including clauses linking payments to viewership performance. Television partners quietly pushed for more Indiana Fever games in prime slots. There were whispers that the league's next media rights negotiation would be completely built around her, not the brand, not the teams, but her. Imagine that. A professional sports league tethered almost entirely to one player's health, popularity, and schedule. That's not sustainable, but for now, it's survival. And yet, through all this chaos, Caitlyn Clark herself stayed eerily calm. She didn't lash out, didn't gloat, didn't post a single comment mocking the finals turnout. Instead, she let her actions do the talking. Videos of her practicing went viral because of how focused she looked. When reporters asked about the finals disaster, she brushed it off gracefully, saying, "The league's growing. Ups and downs are part of that." That poise, that quiet confidence made fans love her even more. It's like she instinctively knew her power and didn't need to flaunt it. Meanwhile, league insiders were scrambling for solutions. They hired new marketing consultants. They started brainstorming crossover collaborations with music artists, influencers, and fashion brands. They even considered altering the season schedule to line up with fewer NBA conflicts. But all those ideas had one common thread. Every plan began with Caitlyn Clark at the center. She had become the WNBA's safety net, and deep down, everyone knew it. Now imagine being another star in that league, someone like Ayesha Wilson, Kelsey Plum, or Breanna Stewart. You've won MVPs, championships, Olympic golds, and suddenly you're being treated like a supporting act. That eats at your pride, and yet it's not Clark's fault. It's the fans who chose where to place their attention. Sports are emotional, not logical. Fans aren't drawn to stats, they're drawn to stories. And right now, Caitlyn Clark is the story. The mental strain this caused across the league was no small thing. Several players reportedly sought counseling to deal with what sports psychologists called comparative burnout, the feeling of working just as hard but getting none of the spotlight. Some even admitted privately that they resented how every conversation in media scrums eventually circled back to Clark, even when she wasn't part of the game. It's the kind of tension that festers quietly, polite smiles on the surface but frustration boiling underneath. And yet, deep down, everyone also knows the truth. Without Clark, the money dries up. Without her, the attendance drops. Without her, sponsors vanish. That's not opinion, that's fact. The league's financial reports show massive surges in ticket sales directly tied to Fever Road games. In some cities, Indiana's visits accounted for half the arena's total annual revenue. That's staggering. It's also terrifying, because that means one injury could sink everything. The league has effectively built its house on one beam, and if that beam cracks, the whole thing collapses. You can almost feel the anxiety hanging in the air. Every time Clark takes a hard foul, every time she lands awkwardly, there's this collective breath hold across the entire organization, not just from fans but from executives, broadcasters, and sponsors who know what her absence would mean. But let's be fair, the WNBA has also never had this level of visibility. For the first time ever, little girls across the country are saying they want to play in the WNBA, not just college ball. Merch sales are up across the board. Digital engagement is at an all-time high. Even though the finals bombed, the potential is there. The question now is whether the league can expand that spotlight to include more than one star. Sophie Cunningham's arrival in Indiana might help. Her fiery personality and fearless play style complement Clark perfectly. The two together could become the league's first true dynamic duo in years, not just talented but marketable. Early season ticket sales are already breaking records. Entire sections are selling out before the season even starts. That's a sign that fans aren't done with the WNBA. They're just done watching games that don't feel like an event. That's the real challenge now. The league doesn't just need competition, it needs theater. It needs rivalries, personalities, storylines, the drama that makes sports matter. For years, the WNBA tried to market itself as a purist league, focused on fundamentals and equality. Admirable, yes, but not what moves audiences in 2025. What fans crave is emotion, spectacle, and stakes. Caitlyn Clark delivered all of that without even trying. Now it's up to the league to learn from her blueprint. Still, there's a bittersweet truth to all this, because while Clark lifted women's basketball higher than it's ever been, she also exposed how fragile that progress is. The empty seats from that finals aren't just a reflection of fan apathy, they're a symbol of what happens when a league fails to build stars who connect beyond the box score. The WNBA can't guilt fans into caring. It has to earn it, every game, every season. As 2025 unfolds, all eyes will be on Indiana. Every headline, every highlight, every whisper of tension will circle back to Clark. If she thrives, the league thrives. If she stumbles, the league trembles. It's an unfair burden, but it's also the price of being the face of a movement. And make no mistake, whether the veterans like it or not, Caitlyn Clark is the movement. The most fascinating part is how she handles it all. No arrogance, no bitterness, just quiet determination. She understands that history's watching, and maybe that's why she resonates so deeply, because she's not trying to prove she's bigger than the league. She's trying to prove that the league can be bigger through her. That subtle difference is everything. But the WNBA's future can't rest on subtlety. It has to seize this moment. If they're smart, they'll use Clark's momentum to build new stars, new rivalries, new storylines. If they're stubborn, they'll cling to the team-first messaging that no longer sells. Sports are entertainment first, and right now, Caitlyn Clark is the only entertainer in the building drawing a full house. So when fans joke about $6 tickets and empty seats, it's not just mockery, it's a warning. The audience has spoken. They want passion. They want drama. They want Caitlyn Clark energy in every game. And if the WNBA doesn't deliver that, it risks fading right back into the background noise it fought so hard to escape. Because the truth is, this isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about visibility, identity, and the harsh economics of attention. The WNBA has the talent. It has the product. But without star power, it's invisible. Caitlyn Clark proved that visibility sells. Now the question is whether anyone else can rise to her level, or whether the league's fate will remain tied to one player's shoulders. In the end, maybe that's what makes the $6 final story so powerful. It's not just a failure, it's a mirror. It reflects everything the WNBA got right and everything it still needs to fix. Those empty seats weren't the end of the league's story. They were the beginning of a reckoning. The kind of moment that forces hard choices, bruised egos, and long overdue honesty. Because one thing's for sure, the next time the WNBA Finals roll around, fans won't be talking about ticket prices. They'll be talking about whether Caitlyn Clark's still playing. And that, for better or worse, tells you everything you need to know.